Beyonce, oh my gosh, her and Jay-Z just made a huge purchase. They just bought a home for $200 million in cash. In cash, y'all. This is the cash.
So his songs were always very street in the hood, always appreciated, and he could cross over and still people all over the world could appreciate.
And there were rumors early on that earlier this year that Beyonce and Jay-Z are having marital problems because they're separating assets. My sources told me, Beyonce and Jay-Z are like peanut butter and jelly. They ain't never separating. She ain't never leaving that man. He ain't never leaving her. However, they were separating assets because Beyonce was making sure that her assets were completely separate from any business dealings that Diddy did with Jay-Z.
You think that if a couple is worth around $3 billion combined, they wouldn't need to borrow money, especially not for a house they already bought. But that's exactly what Jay-Z and Beyoncé did. Despite their massive fortune, they took out a $110 million mortgage on their Los Angeles home, known as the Bel Air Mansion. And yes, this is the same couple who recently made headlines for buying another property in Malibu for a staggering $200 million in straight cash. So what's really going on here? Let's take it back to where it all started to better understand why two billionaires might be racking up this kind of debt. In 2017, Jay-Z and Beyoncé purchased their Bel Air estate for $88 million. It wasn't long after that they took out a mortgage for over $52 million. A 30-year deal with Goldman Sachs. For most people, that's a huge amount of money to borrow. And for a billionaire couple,
$15 million business loan, I guess a loan for Roc Nation to help expand it and keep it going. It's a lot of money. And you would think, why won't he use his own money? Well, it's because he got to pay taxes on his own money, or he doesn't have the money. Because if he had the money, he wouldn't be asking for it. And if he really needed the money, he would cash in some of his assets. But he's not willing to do that because then you got to pay a hefty tax on those assets.
It raised eyebrows. Fast forward to 2025, and they took out another loan on the same property, this time for $57.75 million. So now, between the two loans, they've borrowed about $110 million against the home. That's more than the original purchase price. The new loan reportedly has a 30-year term, with a fixed 5% interest rate for the first 10 years. That means their monthly payment on just this latest mortgage is about $310,000. Add that to the monthly payment from the first loan, which is around $226. Zero. And they're shelling out over $500,000 every month in mortgage payments alone. And we're not even talking about property taxes yet. The annual property tax on the Bel Air home is said to be about $1.2 million. That breaks down to roughly $100,000 a month.
Me and Beyonce bought a $200 million house in California.
Yeah.
In Malibu.
They're saying they paid all cash for it too.
So now, we're looking at total monthly payments of approximately $637,000. And that's just for the house. It doesn't include staff salaries, security, upkeep, or other ongoing costs. Of course, Jay-Z and Beyoncé are not regular people. They're billionaires. This isn't about whether they can afford it. Clearly, they can. The question is, why would they choose to carry this much debt? Especially when just recently, they bought another home for $200 million and paid the entire amount in cash. That Malibu mansion set the record for the most expensive residential purchase in California history. There was no loan, no financing, just a wire transfer. So why go back and refinance the Bel Air property? What's the strategy? Some financial experts say this is a common tactic among the ultra-wealthy. Instead of selling assets and paying taxes on gains, they borrow against what they already own. This gives them quick access to large amounts of money without reducing the value of their portfolio or triggering capital gains tax. It's a way to keep their investments intact while still having the flexibility to make moves. Others think the motive may be more practical. like keeping their cash flow steady. Maybe they need liquid funds for new business ventures, legal costs, or investment opportunities. Borrowing money at a 5% interest rate might be cheaper in the long run than selling a profitable company or stock. But even with all that in mind, some people are still asking, why take on such a big financial risk if you don't have to? After all, mortgages come with the possibility of losing your property if things go sideways. So either this is a smart long-term financial play, or there might be more going on behind the scenes. And this is where people started looking more closely at Beyonce. Lately, fans have noticed how packed her schedule is. She's been on a non-stop tour, performing multiple nights in cities like Atlanta. No breaks, no slowing down. She's also launching new business ventures, including a hair care line, a new fragrance, a liquor brand, and collaborations in the fashion world. People are beginning to ask, why is she working so hard? She's already one of the biggest stars in the world. She doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. So what's behind the hustle? To some, it feels less like passion and more like pressure, the kind that comes from financial obligations. Maybe something big needs funding. Maybe she's carrying more of the financial load than we know. In fact, Beyonce is reportedly the biggest moneymaker tied to Roc Nation, the entertainment company Jay-Z founded. So when finances get tight, she might be the one expected to keep things going. Then it got more complicated. Reports surfaced that Jay-Z had applied for a $115 million loan and was denied. He also tried to get a $55 million line of credit, and that too was rejected. Now, think about that. Banks don't usually say no to billionaires unless they see red flags. For someone of Jay-Z's financial stature, being turned down for such large sums is unusual. When you pair that with the fact they've already borrowed $110 million on their home, it starts to seem like they're actively trying to free up cash, but aren't always able to do it successfully. Then a past interview with Roc Nation executive Desiree Perez resurfaced, where she openly admitted that the company was once $40 million in debt. She didn't hold back. She said things were dire, and that she was desperate to keep the company afloat. Jay-Z also mentioned that he lost $20 million due to a lawsuit from Busby. That kind of legal case doesn't just drain your energy, it drains your wallet. Lawyers, settlements, public relations, damage control, it adds up fast. And those aren't the only legal issues hovering around. Jay-Z's name has come up in other legal situations, mostly through his connection to Diddy. Even if Jay-Z isn't directly involved, just being tied to lawsuits can cause serious financial strain. If these cases start pulling more people in or revealing more connections, things could get even more expensive for everyone involved. So now we have the denied loans, the heavy work schedules, the past debt admissions, the ongoing legal fees, and the massive mortgage. Put all of that together, and it doesn't paint a picture of financial collapse, but it definitely hints at pressure. Some fans believe the couple might be moving money around quickly to prepare for something bigger, possibly more lawsuits, or a situation where their other assets need to stay hidden or protected. Using home equity loans lets them access cash without having to sell off business interests, or investments that might be under scrutiny. But there's a risk. If anything goes wrong, if they miss a payment or get hit with a financial freeze, they could lose the house that's being used as collateral. That's a big gamble. One fan commented online, "It's giving bankruptcy prevention mode." Another said, "I love Beyonce, but this hustle feels forced. She didn't even tour this hard during her prime." People are reading between the lines, and they're worried. Now, to be fair, there's another side to all this. Some argue that this is simply good financial planning. The rich stay rich by avoiding taxes, borrowing instead of selling, and making strategic moves that look risky to outsiders, but are actually smart long-term. This could all be part of managing their money wisely. But others say something feels off. The loan rejections, the intense work schedule, the refinancing, the previous debt. When you add it all up, it doesn't feel like just financial planning. It feels like they're trying to protect themselves from something they see coming. Let's be clear, no one's saying Jay-Z and Beyoncé are broke. Not even close. But what people are noticing is that they seem to be moving money around with a sense of urgency. Whether it's fear of lawsuits, the need for fast liquidity, or pressure from behind-the-scenes business troubles, something is making them cautious. And social media has had a field day with this as soon as the mortgage numbers and loan denials were made public. The comments started rolling in. One person wrote, "Not Jay-Z having Beyoncé on tour like she's paying rent. It's a joke, sure, but it hits a nerve." Others said things like, "This feels like a slow-motion financial fire drill." And that's honestly how it looks, a series of moves that could either be smart financial chess, or signs that they're scrambling to stay one step ahead of something serious. Still, not everyone is skeptical. Some fans are defending the couple, saying, "This is how wealthy people operate. They borrow against what they own, avoid big tax bills, and keep their businesses growing." That's true. Many billionaires do the same thing. But the difference is, those moves usually don't come alongside denied credit lines, public admissions of past financial troubles, and an overloaded work schedule from one of the richest entertainers alive. So, what does it all mean? It might be nothing more than advanced financial planning, protecting their investments and preparing for long-term growth. But it also could mean their cash isn't flowing as freely as people assume. Not that they're out of money, but that their access to liquid funds is limited, and they're finding ways to navigate that reality. In the end, we don't know all the details. We're just seeing pieces of a puzzle, some public, some hidden. What's clear is that Jay-Z and Beyoncé are making very deliberate choices right now. Whether it's to avoid financial pitfalls or to stay flexible in a changing business environment, they're not standing still. And as fans, observers, and curious minds, we're left wondering, is this just another chapter in their empire-building journey? Or a warning sign of something deeper? Let me know what you think. Do these money moves make sense to you? Or are they red flags in disguise? So, what do you think? Are Jay-Z and Beyoncé just playing smart with their wealth? Or is this a sign that something bigger is happening behind the scenes? Whether it's about protecting assets, staying liquid, or preparing for legal challenges. One thing's clear, these aren't casual moves. This isn't just about a couple refinancing a home. It feels like a calculated shift in how they're managing everything, from business to personal finance. Now, don't get it twisted. We're not saying they're broke. But it does raise real questions about how billionaires operate when the spotlight isn't on stage, but on their money, the denied loans, non-stop tours, major mortgages. It's all telling a story. The question is, what kind? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are these smart financial decisions or signs of something deeper going on? And if you found this video interesting, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. We're just scratching the surface here, and trust me, this rabbit hole goes even deeper. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay sharp.